Hey guys, so what does getting a new job and then getting booed at your holiday party from the job that you're leaving and then leaving drenched in shame have in common with getting the new house, getting the new partner, loving life, and all of a sudden you lose your job, you lose your partner, and all of it turns to shit? Also, what does that have to do with freaking out about the fact that you're not freaking out? Right? How many of you are in that space of like, I'm actually okay, and I'm freaking out about the fact that I'm okay right now? All of these things have in common that we could theoretically put them under the notion of being an upper limit problem. So when I work with a lot of people who are reflecting something to me that they're all reflecting simultaneously, I have to do my own work and go, oh wow, how is that showing up in my own life? Because of course, you know, when your nose is too close to a mirror, you can't see your pores, but when you're standing far back enough from it, you can see them. And that's what the people that I work with, I tend to have this parallel reality where I'm being reflected what's actually also true for me, even though I've already had the tools to get through this exact juncture. It's just that I have to practice them again. I have to go through it again, and I get to actually do that by being inspired by objectively seeing my clients and their work. So an upper limit problem for me, which I didn't even realize this week, is that I don't know if you know this, if you checked out my interview on Facebook, and if you're not on my Facebook, check out my Facebook. It's Stacy Hoch. At Facebook, it's Stacy Hoch, Stacyhoch. I put a lot of my writing content there. I'm much more of a writer than I am a speaker, per se. So, if you checked out the interview that I did, you know that I'm pregnant with my 4th child. And I'm halfway through my pregnancy. And it has actually, I didn't realize this, but it's an upper limit problem for me because I had always wanted to have 4 children. And I kind of thought like, oh, if I ever was blessed enough to have that, then my life would be complete. So now that I'm on the precipice of having this, what was a limitation for me in my mind at one point, it was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to get that thing. So theoretically, I'm like pushing on my own glass ceiling, going, are you really about to have 4 kids? Something that you've always wanted? Can you do that? Can you hang? Like, how is this going to work for you? So I'm kind of pressing up against a limitation that I previously had in the acquisition of the thing that I wanted, right? When that happens, I'm going to liken this to a family systems theory in psychology. When we start to heat up, so if your natural default vibration is at the temperature, and obviously we're making an equation here, it's not a temperature, but theoretically it is at a temperature of 68 degrees, and you want to change your life, and you want to warm up, vibrationally speaking, to a 72 degrees. That's great. It's well and good, and you're perfectly allowed to do it. And the ramifications of doing that in a benevolent universe are that your old energy system is going to feel like it's blowing the circuit, so to speak, because your new normal isn't normal yet. It's too hot for you. So in the natural order of how benevolent the universe is, your energy field will create circumstances, emotional or external, both are the same, to knock your ass down to like a 64. If you're used to being at a 68 and you heat up to a 72, something's going to come in and be like, hey, you're not allowed to get that hot, not without my permission. So I'm going to be the cold one. If you are the scapegoat in the family system, you know all about this because that's theoretically the like equilibrium you had to hold down, so to speak, being the cooler temperature. But anyway, that's beside the point. Totally different video. But if you are facing something that you've heated up, and it feels really good. And I want you to actually do the exercise like I did, because I actually went back. I'm having these people do this exercise, seeing so clearly. And I'm like, I get this hit, like, dude, if this is coming up for all of them, this is definitely coming up for you. So do this exercise. Write the things in your life that you are actually really happy about right now. And if that is like, dude, I have an exercise routine for the first time in my life, and then your energy body plummets to like, are you really going to be able to sustain it, blah, blah, blah. Just write down the upper limit, which is at current, I'm holding a position of having the exercise routine that I desired, or I have 4 children. Okay, I see that this is an upper limit for me. And the problem with upper limit problems is that we think we want to get to that point, then we get there and nothing changes. Truly, we are the only thing that can change along the way. So we think that we're going to get to this point, and then we don't see beyond the point when we're trying to get to that point, if that makes sense. It's like, oh, I always wanted 4 children, and now that I'm having them, there's part of my energy body that's going, oh, something might be wrong with this child, or one of them is going to die. There's all of these like underpinnings subconsciously that are creeping up to kind of root me down and hold me back to that old space of being. But no, what I truly want is to continue ascending, to rock the shit out of being a mom of 4, to rock my business in the meantime. Like, what I want is different from the snags that are trying to hold me back to that like 68 degrees by pulling me down to a 64. Because I never actually saw beyond getting what I wanted, so to speak, because it was a limitation for me. I didn't know if I would get it. So now that I'm getting it, there's part of me that's like, oh, okay, well, I'm having a hard time actually accepting it with ease, if that makes sense. So that's an upper limit problem. You might be facing an upper limit problem. If you are facing an upper limit problem, just write down where you're at. And it's actually weird because it is theoretically a problem to the psyche. But write down the places in your life you're really actually good. And you'll see, if you just get the new job, it's likely, if you face upper limit problems without grace, that your car will take a shit. Okay? So it's that kind of benevolence where we go, okay, my system, my default wants to keep me at a 68. So if you are making conscious decisions to change that, just notice where you are in your upper limit and just honor it. Like, okay, I'm actually there. I'm allowed to receive this. That's the biggest thing I think for those of us who really find turbulence and upper limit problems, we have an issue with receiving, right? We are allowed to accept the good, and it doesn't need to come with a cost. And that right there is when you look at your upper limit problem, you go, okay, I got that exercise routine, I got these 4 kids, I got this new job, I got this new car, I have exactly what I want. I'm allowed. That's okay. I'm allowed to be okay there. I don't have to freak out about not freaking out too, right? So if you're facing an upper limit problem, I just want you to get some context for what that even is and understand that it's just your old energy system not trying to blow a circuit. So it's kind of holding you back a little bit to be sure that this is what it is that you truly, truly want. And if you're actually going to receive it, because the universe doesn't want to give us what we're unwilling to receive. So a lot of us have things in our lives that we're just like, that's there, but it doesn't really matter. We don't receive the thing. We don't receive the person, the being. We just go, oh, that's my partner. So it's really about being receptive and allowing, making space for the good to come in, and continue just noticing, oh, this is an upper limit for me. So something might try to pull me back, but all I have to do is recognize it as an upper limit and continue the ascension anyway. Bye guys. Have a great week.